This is Head Coach Ross of the Attacks Gym, and I'm giving you one of my first video blogs regarding the technique alternating maces. And I'm going to take this very basic technique and walk it through some of the areas and the manifestations that have been somewhat controversial to people of late. I've advanced the concept and the idea, the hypothesis, the theory that much of what we see in the expression of what is referred to as the ideal phase is the result of dysfunctional training. And I'm going to go ahead and use one of the most common yellow belt techniques, alternating maces, to make this particular point. Okay? Helping me out is my friend Jabari. Behind the camera is the legendary Scott. Okay? And now what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the classic alternating maces. The classic alternating maces is supposed to be a defense against a two-handed push to the chest. Okay? We're going to go through it step by step, and then we're going to go street speed. First movement is you're going to come through with a push, and I step back, miraculously making this block. Okay? You definitely want to fight somebody that you can make this block with. Okay? Second thing you're going to do is you're going to fire a thrust punch. Third thing is you're going to do the back knuckle to the temple. And then you basically cross out to your fighting stance in zone of safety. There are quite a few issues I have with this, but first I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you at street speed and let you know what it looks like. And then we'll cross out. Let me turn to the side again so you guys can see this area right here. Street speed. Now, let me slow down for you guys. Block, thrust punch, back knuckle. Sometimes it's a little hard to see because we go a little quickly and everyone's moving dynamically. Now, there's a number of issues I have with this. First of all, no one is talking about targeting. Even if you're able to miraculously get this push off, this block off to a push, facing somebody who is remarkably untalented, and they pushed you, and you managed to block, they just say throw a reverse punch or a thrust punch. Well, where? Well, should I hit him in the face? Would that give me an optimal response? Well, it would if we're in relative size. But what if you're a grown man and I'm a child? And I'm trying to hit you in the face? I'm taking my leverage away, my combat efficiency away. So where should the first punch go? Some say it should go to the sternum. This again works for most people who are relatively similar size. What I tend to do is, if you have the opening target, I don't say go to the face. You either go to the throat or you go to the groin. The reason why I recommend this is because not only is he walking forward and taking the power and magnifying the power of your strike into the throat, or tracking down, magnifying the strike into the bladder. Let me turn this way so you guys can see it a little bit better. Magnifying the strike into the bladder or into the groin. What's happening here is it allows you to disengage. So the first movement, if you're lucky enough to get the block off, you should meet his forward momentum with all the power that your entire body can generate, which means you'll be doing what is called the kinetic wave or the Kempo body whip. You'll be marrying your breath with your entire body commitment to the strike, and then you'll come right behind that with the back knuckle, so it'll look like that, very, very fast, very, very dynamic, and he's magnifying the power by part number two. You know, now, as you can probably tell by the expression of his face when I threw the technique, it was very, very fast. It's much faster coming to you than it is when you're watching it on video. To see if I can emulate this movement, I'm going to actually throw the first punch at the camera, all right? The thrust punch is here. When you throw the punch, as you retract, you're going to fire the back knuckle. So you'll be here, throwing your punch here, right here. And again, the last time. That's the technique, okay? Your opponent is being battered by this technique. Not just in any general way, but in a specific way. So you strike, I teach my students to strike the throat, the sternum, solar plexus preferably, or the bladder, hip girdle, groin. The groin is our favorite target because it's gender neutral. Whoever hits you, whatever age group hits you in the groin, you're gonna feel it. Okay? Our second favorite is the throat. See, if you actually hit him here, you bring him down so you can actually get this shot up. The back knuckle or the forearm strike into the throat. Okay? And our third then is the sternum, but this is very much oriented toward mass, size, and equivalence in strength. So this is the least likely to be successful of the three strikes that you throw, insofar as damage accrued is concerned. Now, the other thing that we disagree with was two more things, actually. In the classic version, the thrust punch and the back knuckle pretty much ended. You do an inside left block, thrust punch, back knuckle. And that's it. You cross out. That doesn't happen in real life. The great majority of the times, if he comes and pushes, you strike it here, bang, like this, he'll block like that. So when you strike here, you may not finish him. See how he moved back? So now you follow with the rest of the movement. Let me show you what the other movement is. You simply do exactly the same technique on your right side as you did with your left. This left inside block now is transformed into a right hammer fist toward your opponent's temple, or whatever open target of the specific areas we talked about: groin, sternum, throat. That's available. The next shot will go to the next high percentage target that's open. Thrust punch to the sternum, thrust punch to the groin, thrust punch to the throat. Whichever one of those targets is available. And then what is happening is, you notice I'm actually stepping to my target. I'm not standing still, throwing arm punches. I'm not giving ground. I'm stepping through the target. The reason why is because as we make the block here, you want to meet his forward momentum with your strike, and that gives as much shock and awe and trauma as possible. This also manipulates him. Even if you just touch him lightly, he'll turn like that. He'll bend. He'll react to the impact of the blow. If you hit to our favorite areas, the reaction, the height, width, and depth manipulation is even more exceptional. When I touched him here, he kind of bent over. I hit the hips, he'll really bend. And that's the reason why we go there first. As you hit here and he's coming down, you'll catch him on the way up, way down with the back knuckle. I'm trying to slow this down so you guys can see it. I don't want him to actually sit into it because people have been knocked out doing that. Okay? As you strike here, we back knuckle here. Boom! This makes it, this gives you a great deal more power. And notice I'm not pulling away from him. When I throw the back knuckle, I'm going to him. This is what you want. You want to drive into your target. Okay? I tend to throw to the temple a lot. The reason why I tend to go to the temple a lot is because not people are very good at defending the temple. They're not very good at throwing the neck against the throat, but they're really not that good at defending the temple. They'll defend their face like a mug. They want to stay pretty. But you hit them in the temple, it'll ring anybody's bell. It'll even damage people like Roy Jones Jr. Okay? The other thing I do is I disassociate the idea that the alternating maces is exactly precisely what was shown. It is only the inside block with a thrust punch in the back knuckle and nothing else. That you can't block with the other side from an alternate lead, from a less than ideal lead. And this is where we start getting into the training modalities here. And this is where we're very, very different, okay? I believe it is our responsibility to impose our skill upon the attacker. The attacker does not have to do what we want him to do. We have to impose our skills upon him. And whatever belt rank we are at, that's the techniques that we use. If you're a yellow belt, that's what you use. You don't have any orange belt or purple belt or blue belt techniques, none of that. So whatever you learn at orange belt, whatever you learn at yellow belt, whatever you learn at white belt, it has to be sufficient to the time and to the attack that you're facing. Which is why I insist upon the versatility that I insist upon to all my students. The weapons training, the grappling, the clinches, the close, and also the interpretation of this technique. So let's take a look-see again at the target here. When you do the block here, this target is here. The bladder strike is somewhat there. The throat strike is there. The open face shot is there. If you change the block, if I went to an outside block here, what happens here now is that you have changed the angle of your entry. But have you lost the targeting? No, you haven't. You simply change the angle of your entry. I can still hit the bladder. I can fire this punch here. It'll still go back. I can still hit the sternum. I can still fire to the temple. I can still fire to the throat. But what happens now is you're going to wind up altering the path of your outside blocking hand. Here it was thrust, punch, thrust, and back knuckles. From here, you're going to go here, boom, right here like this. When you block in, you're going to fire the same back knuckle, but the path is going to change. Instead of going from straight forward with the shoulder squared, you're at an angle wherein you actually have more targeting here and less weapons to defend against, because these weapons are in the rear. I'm going to show you where the targets are, and we're going to go right through the row of the blocks, and we're going to empirically, functionally annihilate the contentions that you're somehow or other not doing alternating maces, or that there are less than optimal results when you do the alternating maces and you use other blocks, or you're using against other attacks. Newsflash. The less than optimal result is when you're in a fight. Okay? From that point forward, you use everything in your arsenal to achieve the goal you need to achieve. Okay? So now, helping me out, you know, with this two-handed push, please come through nice and slow. Come over here, nice and slow. We're going to show you first the traditional again. We're going through slow. The block here gets shots here. All right? Let me turn you again a little bit of angle here so you can see. Block and the shot. Okay? We're going to continue with the back knuckle. Come through the other side here. It's right here. Now, push. We're simply going to go outside block now. Are the targets there? Yes, they are. Are the targets different? Yes, they are. But do you have to forego these other targets? No, you don't. Where you do go for is the targets that are most available and still achieve the same results. You can strike anywhere near the hips. You can start strike near the psoas. You can strike right here, which is my favorite spot right here near the floating ribs, you know, and the liver and the kidneys. You know, depending on which side you're on, this will be the kidney area close up here. But you still shot over here. It's bad news. You still move him, as you can see. Okay. Then you fire the back knuckle to the temple. Okay. Then you fire through with a hammer fist to temple. You can also hit the other high percentage targets. Remember I told you right here, the groin, the sternum, the throat. Okay. Then we go to the temple, you know, the sides of the neck, you know, the tops of the cranium, the tips of the nose, these areas. But from here, a block here, you can hit the groin. Okay. I can still use the back knuckle to hit the neck. Okay. I can still hit here and then hit the sternum. And all I do is use his hand to hit the sternum with whip. Here, bam, hit the sternum. He walks into it. Then we fire the back knuckle again. So fire to the nose, the throat, the temple, whatever target you want. The key here, what I want you to see is that if you cannot do the alternating maces from whatever position you find yourself in, you can't do the alternating maces. You're doing something else that can only alternate if your opponent will help you. Your opponent's not going to help you. It's your job to impose your skill upon him. Next, okay, let's say he's grabbed you, you know, or this I've seen this happen a lot, especially with women. They grab at the belt, or you can grab the wrist grab as you're trying to move out. What are you going to do here? You're going to wind up doing a lower block here. You can hammer and still do the same thing. You can hammer and get out. As you hammer, let me turn this way so you can see it. Good grip, good grip. There you go, good. What I want to do here is I'm going to do the hammering block, and exactly like we do when we hammer and chamber our fists at our hips, same exact move. You're going to hammer block down and free yourself. He did not let me go. You didn't let me go, did you? I made him let go. Okay? So again, as you can see by this grip, watch the changes in his thumb pressure right here. You can see he's actually squeezing me here. You see the difference, and his skin is getting darker. He's really squeezing me here. It's not a joke. It's not a fake grip. What I'm going to do is rotate my wrist out toward his thumb, pull my fist back to my hip. At the same time, I'm going to drop this hammer fist because this hand is coming. I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, if somebody grabs you here, something nasty is happening over there. And he's already established his intention to impose his will, usually through intimidation and force and strength. Okay, so let's come a little closer over here so you can see the same. You can see there's a big difference in size and strength between here and I. But when you do your technique properly, doing your hammering block, you can make him let go. As soon as you do that, you go with the thrust punch here. As you can see, everyone responds. Now this is very important. I want you guys to see this. You know, this is completely unscripted. Everyone responds. He's not going to sit here and wait for you to do the rest of the technique. But notice if you do it properly, you've already negated most of the attacks, especially from untrained people. You will strike first. As you hit him down, you set him into the area you want to go. You strike here. I struck here so the camera can see it especially. I usually try to strike there. I struck here. And his hand was here as he was striking. This is the block. I struck and blocked immediately, one movement. That allowed me to simply uncork, bam, the back fist, and run to the other side. Bam, bam, the other side. See it? Bam, bam, doubling up. Wham! Game's over. This is actually the kind of facility you need when you're using the alternating maces. Okay? You should use all of the principles, all of the techniques, all the movements that are available for you at your belt rank. Okay? Yellow belt. You know what the bow stances are. Grab me again. Okay? Now this is untrained. I mean, this is unrehearsed. Okay? Now, we all know you're supposed to step forward and step back with the bow stance. But what's happening here is no one is training their bow, well, not enough people, I should say, are training their bow stances offensively. Okay? When you're stepping back, you should do something to him with the action of stepping back. When you're stepping forward, it's purely the action of doing these movements to take it to him. When we're stepping forward, we will drive our knee into you. Instead of doing a bow stance, we're stepping out here, or bow stance, we're stepping out here, and nothing's happening to you, we'll step into your space and we'll manipulate you through contact manipulation through our bow stance. So we'll just step into your move like that. That makes you move. I haven't even hit you with the hand with the block yet. But if I combine it together with the alternating maces, I step forward. Go here. Now you're setting directly where I want you to go. You're magnifying the power of my shot. Bam, next shot's come right here. You're sitting into it. I'm disrupting your balance. This is the type of thing that happens when you train functionally. You have to train against real resistance. Understand that people who are pushing you are not going to push you in this stand and put their hands on their hips and be impressed with themselves. Understand that people, when they grab you, they're not going to grab you and be impressed with themselves. If all the technique you know is alternating maces, attacking mace, bow stance, whatever your technique is, you have to train it against the kind of stimuli that you can expect as far as attacks are concerned. The concept of having to wait to another belt rank to deal with an attack now is inane at best. Is one of the kindest words I can think about that. It is incredibly dysfunctional, it is incredibly unwise, and especially in nowadays with the kind of training paradigm we have, is entirely unnecessary. And one other move, you know, using the alternating mace. We already went through the push. This is what we want to go to next, double grab. He just went ahead and did it. Even though he's going to do it. Now, what I want you guys to see here is that I'm going to run the entirety of our blocks here. I'm going to do the inside out block. This is the inside block right here. This is the outside block. This is the upward block. This is going to be the lower block. Now, this is just the hand movements. I'm going to isolate this so you can see. All right, grab for it. Yeah. Okay, that's the actual grab. You see that? He's grabbing me, folks. It's not fake. Now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to do an outside block first so you guys can see it come, so you guys can see how his body is manipulated. I'm going to do an outside block against his arm. Don't let me do it. Look up, look up. Yeah, yeah. See, now this is what happens. This is a real type of movement. It's realistic. You have to establish yourself with your base, and then you execute the technique. See how he's moving, rocking me from position to position? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to use that energy in my bow stance to make him let go, like that. Like that. All right, bam! That one movement made him let go and set him back. You see the distance between us? Now one move, bam, bam, right there. I didn't even fire with the next movement, but notice he's already sit, bam, right where the next shot is going. Because I've trained functionally to do this. The concept, the myth, the whole idea that the alternating maces can only be done this way is directly the result of dysfunctional training. The moment you start sparring with this technique, you start adapting the technique to the situation that you're in. That, ladies and gentlemen, is actually the alternating maces. This is a static movement which is part of the expression of alternating maces. If you train it functionally, it will be the equivalent of slightly suboptimal shadow boxing with no boxing against an actual sparring partner, but then saying that you can be champion of the world. No, you can't. Champion of the world is going to hit you, and he's not going to care if you know alternating maces or not. The only thing that doesn't matter is that if you can you do your technique and perform your technique well enough to overcome whatever the resistance is. Again,
same way.
Same way. Over here. Right here. Now I did the outside block. And then I'm going to do the inside block closer to the classic alternating maces. No, and I'm going to do stepping toward him. And as I'm talking to you, I'm actually adjusting to him. He's using real force. Alright? I'm going to do stepping toward him and stepping back. Since he's pushing me here, I'm going to step back first. Bam. That sets him right to where I want to be. I'm looking at you. I can set him immediately. This hand snaps him down. Okay? All I have to do now is just drive forward and fire with the kinetic, you know, and go with the kinetic wave. So as I block and step forward, bam, right there. Again, here, bing, bang, bing, bang. Okay? These exact same targets that were alleged not to be there because we changed the attack are actually here. The exact same concept that we can't do this is somehow or other not alternating maces is entirely untrue. Whatever you can say at this point here is, whether you can say, you know what, I don't like the way you train, Ross. You can say, you know what, Ross, I think thus and so and this and that. Whatever, what you can't say is, I didn't just show you that you can use the alternating maces from all kind of different areas. That is not the classic way in which the alternating maces is done. The question you should be asking is, why didn't your teacher show you this? You already know what to do. This is Head Coach Ross with the Attacks Gym. If you have any questions or comments, leave it at the end of this video. Thank you very much for your time.